All right, so if you're new to the hobby or you've been in the hobby for any amount of time, you know that model kit building can take a while. When I say a while, it could be like 2, 3, 4, even more hours than that. It could take you several days for like perfect grades. But what if I told you that if you follow some helpful hacks, some helpful tips, you could actually cut that time down by several hours? That's why in today's video, I want to share my personal Gundam building hacks to build kits faster. So first, I would say cut out all distractions, unless it's like some type of soft background music type. You don't want anything distracting. You don't want YouTube videos. You don't want movies. You don't want loud music that's going to be distracting. Like anything that takes your attention away, even partially from the model kit, will slow you down. And when you get slowed down in the building process, it's going to take longer. It's just basic math, right? So I highly recommend you cut out all distractions where possible, and I promise you will see your time cut down right away. So next, let's talk about the workstation. I highly recommend you get some type of system down where all of your tools are kind of organized, whether that be in some type of toolbox, some type of like pencil holder or something like that, where your tools are easy to access, organized, easy to recognize, but also the workstation itself, you want to make sure that it's free of any clutter, any trash, anything that might be in the way of you working where you might even accidentally drop a small piece, right? So now let's talk about that small piece. Let's say you drop a small piece during your project. You also want to make sure that your area around your workstation is clear, because in the event that that happens, which it happens all the time, you want to make sure that you can actually find that piece. Like you don't know how many times like my heart has like sunk into the bottom of my stomach because I couldn't find a very small intricate piece of the head or the arm or the leg. Like somewhere where if I don't find this piece, this kit is absolutely useless. You do not want that to happen. And honestly, if you follow this one hack, it'll save you so much time, so much headache, and so much worry. All right, next, I actually saw this on YouTube. I was actually just watching somebody stream, and I noticed him do this. And at first, I was like, "Why is he putting masking tape on the runners?" But then I saw him write the runner name, the runner letter and number, and I realized that he's actually organizing his runners. That's why my next suggestion is to organize your runners. Now, with high grades, it's not really that crazy. You might have like 4 or 5 runners, pretty easy, all different colors. But as you begin to advance, master grade, perfect grade, bigger model kits with more runners in general, you're going to have some type of system. Now, whether that's like having a runner stand or simply strictly just masking tape and a Sharpie marker, you want to organize your runners. That way they're easy to access. You know which is what right away. And again, that'll just it'll shave some time off the top, which if you put all of these things together will save you a lot of time in the end. So that's why I recommend you organize your runners, whether that be in a runner shelf or simply masking tape and a Sharpie marker. Try it out. All right, so for my next tip, I highly recommend reading through the manual at least once or twice through. Right. So some kits actually require certain tools, like the perfect grade, and even recently I did this G Gundam master grade. You need a certain type of screwdriver for some of the screws, not even as small as a eyeglass kit, but just specifically the screwdriver tip so that you don't strip some of these screws, right? So if you're reading it through the kit, obviously you should have done the research prior to, but even reading the manual itself will help kind of like align your thoughts and your preparation to this specific build. Other than that, there are certain sections where, I found that had I thoroughly read all the way through that entire section of the kit, I would have actually, maybe done something slightly different a few steps before so that I would have had a better outcome. Or I've even had kits where the manual itself is somewhat flawed. I'm like, why would they graph the image that way? Because obviously these manuals are in like Japanese, so I don't read Japanese, but I've done my share of like IKEA kits, and because of that, I know how to read pictures, right? And sometimes some of these manuals and pictures do not describe what needs to be done very well, but you'll get additional context by the steps that follow that step. So sometimes it's super helpful and it'll save you a whole lot of time if you just read the manual at least once or twice before you actually get started with the kit. All right, so these next two tips kind of go hand in hand, like they're yin and yang to one another. and that's because it deals with the details. Now, some people just build the kit out of the box and then that's it. Like they may put stickers on it, they may not. Some people are okay with no stickers, no details. They like the kit the way it is. But if you want details, I'll recommend you using ultra fine tip Gundam markers for your panel lining. And here's why. I haven't used the actual panel lining by I think it's by Tamiya just yet, but I will say that my experience with the ultra fine tip Gundam markers and just what I've seen, through the Gundam hobby in general, it's way less effort just using an ultra fine tip Gundam marker. Now, do you not always get the most crisp, clean panel lines? Sure. But if you're just looking for like the lazy, easy, quick way to do it, this is like the best way to do it. All you simply do is take the Gundam marker, trace within that carved out panel line area that's already there, and then let it dry and you're done. Some people put a matte coat or a clear coat on top of it once it's finished, but you don't have to do that. I mean, I haven't yet. I haven't had an issue with it. Maybe I will later on down the line. But again, this is the video on how to finish kits quicker, and this is the quickest way. Now, what's even quicker than that, again, is don't do any details at all. Maybe just skip the whole panel line process. Again, if that's your cup of tea, then I highly recommend it because at the end of the day, panel lining still does take time, even if you use the ultra fine Gundam markers. So if you skip panel lining altogether, that's more time saved at the end. All right, so this next tip might sound a little counterproductive, but trust me on this. After building several model kits, even though I'm new to the hobby, I've noticed that the leg portion is usually the most detailed, intricate, like taxing part of the build. Whether it's high grade, real grade, or on, that's usually going to be the portion of the build that takes the most out of you. So, because of that, I highly recommend that you take a break. Now, if you're coming up on the legs and you already have done like because some of these kits they do it in a similar order and not always the same order. So let's say that you've had several sections prior to the leg. I would say take a break right before, a short break, maybe like 10, 15 minutes, really short break. You jump into the legs and then take a break right after. And here's why. Because the legs are so taxing, I've actually noticed that like after like all the intricate pieces of the leg portion of my Gundams, as I go into the next part, let's say it's a chest or a waist, super easy if you think about it. But you'll notice that like how quickly you were hammering out the first few sections prior to the leg, you can tell that there's a little bit of like mental and physical fatigue. Like think about it. You're dealing with all these small parts, the nippers, you're dealing with the tips of your fingers. Like you're squinting your eyes, it just becomes a thing where you may just need a quick little breather, get you some, refreshing to drink, stretch, shake your legs off because you've been sitting in a chair this whole time too. Take a quick break and jump back in, and you'll notice that you'll actually continue on with the project at the same rate as you did in the beginning. So that's why I highly recommend, especially when you're dealing with the leg section, take a short break. All right, last, this is like my personal tip. Now, I'm sure others do this already, but again, I'm not privy to it. I haven't noticed anybody else do it just yet. But because I've done Legos in the past, I kind of have like a routine that's kind of structured around Legos. And one of the differences between Legos and Gundam is with Gundam, all the pieces come like connected on a runner. Whereas Legos, you have a bunch of different little pieces where most times each section of the manual, each portion as it's broken down for the full build of the kit is actually in little plastic baggies. So like you don't really have to do too much searching, do too much like rambling around looking for, where these pieces are. They're pretty much all in bag number 3 or bag number 6, right? So you can just go ahead and complete that correlating section to that baggie. But with Gundam, you're going to be doing a lot more like switching around between runners, nipping here and then building there. Like when I first started, and maybe I'm the only one who did this, but I would nip and then connect, nip, connect, nip, connect. And I've noticed that like that kind of like drags on the process versus nipping all of the pieces from this runner, all the pieces from that runner, have them laid out similar to how I would with my Lego pieces out of that one baggie and then build all at the same time. And I don't mean the whole kit, but literally like if I'm doing the chest of my Gundam. I'll have all the chest pieces already laid down, and then I can just flow straight through the connecting and building process of the chest. So it's just one seamless motion with nipping, one seamless motion with putting it all together, and then it's a done deal. Now, again, I haven't timed this yet, but just from like doing so many kits so far, it just feels like there's a better flow. You know, it feels more quicker. I don't know, maybe not, but that's just one I want to throw in at the end. Let me know what you guys think. But again, that was my take on Gunpla building hacks to build kits faster. Let me know what type of strategies that you guys use to finish kits faster. Like, do you care about the time? And if so, how have you actually reduced that amount of time over the course of your hobby experience? Let me know in the comments below. But again, that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like videos like this, make sure you check out my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. I will be posting videos like this on a weekly basis. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in the next one.